everyone. Welcome back to another Joseki for Kyus. If you haven't watched any of the other videos in this series, and somehow you've come across this one, go back and watch the other ones. I mean, I think I'm teaching some pretty good variations here, like things that you should know if you want to make it to Dan level. Today, we're going to continue that tradition. I hope it's a tradition at this point of teaching you guys things that you guys should know in order to become Dan level, with the pretty well-known invasion of the 3-3 point against the 4-4 stone. And I suspect that most of you guys think that you know at least a few of these Joseki at this point. I think, probably the average viewer in this channel is probably between, actually I have no idea if this is true or not, but I'm just going to guess between 5 and 10 Q. That's the average, strength of the viewer. And 5 to 10 Qs seem to know this sort of. Like they know a few variations. They still get into trouble sometimes with some of the variations, but for the most part, they feel pretty confident about playing against it and playing this in their games. So I'll take you through, maybe 8 to 10 variations of the ones you should know and the ones that you should expect, and I'll still try to go a little bit more on the slower side, even though some of you guys might know some of these variations. But I want to, for those of you who do feel more comfortable here, I want you to focus on comparing the results of these variations, perhaps more so than learning the patterns. So that'll be the goal here. A couple of these variations are pretty tricky, actually, so I do want to show you some of the trickier ones. When, of course, and again, so the backstory to this, when black takes the 4-4 point, this is asking for influence. Remember that, when Go players first start out and they see people playing the corners, they think this move takes territory in the corner. It does not. It actually asks for influence to build off from the corner. And when white plays here directly, it's all too clear to the black player that, oh, this stone doesn't actually take the corner. If you wanted the corner, and you just wanted the corner, you absolutely need to play this move. Usually you can play this one and still end up with the corner, but even this one isn't fully decided either, because white actually has this very sweet little attachment here to make a very small, nice little living group in the corner. So even the 4-3 point doesn't guarantee the corner either. So if you just want the corner, just play this move. That is the only point that does it. Okay. So again, when black plays for influence and the time is right, and again, this is usually not how you start the game. Black takes the 4-4 and white immediately invades. Not normal. Usually the outside's bigger than the corner. So even though the corner is the biggest spot of the board, if you can seal your opponent in the corner, then you get usually a good result. Black has almost exactly 2 choices, and they're symmetrical, so no one cares. Pick one. Usually you pick the side that you want to develop more. So if you have a stone here, let's say this is the literal start of the game, right? You played there, white played there, black played there, and then white jumped in. You should almost without a doubt play this side, right? There's no, this is the side you already have a developing stone. After this move, white really only has one choice, and it's to go here. Now, when there are other stones around, there are other options. Like, for instance, you'll see this one sometimes. But again, in the normal Joseki context, 4-4 versus 3-3, this is really the only acceptable move for white. Okay, at this point, there's really 2, I'll say, predominant moves for black, possibly a special case third one. The two main ones are going to be A, the one that probably most of you guys are familiar with, and again, this makes complete sense. Black wanted influence. This continues to build the outside. It hanes at the head of 2 stones, so it's good with the proverbs. It takes away liberties from the white group. This does a lot of nice things for us. This is the most common and most natural. A second option, and probably a little bit less known among Q players, is you can actually play here. And this move, when black plays here, is actually saying, you know what, I don't mind becoming a little bit weaker on this side, but I really just want to turn the top into points. I want to seal off the top. Usually the intent of a move like this. This often gets played later on in the game. Like, you're more likely to play this move when the game is still young, but as the game goes on and you know where you want your points to come from, you're more likely to see this move moving up in the priority. But again, it just depends on what you have on the outside. And the third special case one, I'm going to say, is this one. Although this one isn't really Joseki. This is really just saying, I just want a wall here, and I just want Sente. right? White will usually have to respond. If white responds here, black is very happy. Black can use that time to come back and make this extension. If white plays here, it gets a little bit less satisfying because the next move for white is much more forcing. So it feels like black needs to play one more move. But again, this is special case only. Okay, we're not going to look at that special case. We're going to focus all of our attention today on this move and on this move, because these are the ones that you're going to see. All right, let's do this one first, because I suspect it's the lesser common one, the one that you guys have seen less. And you know, on average, I think people only watch something like 40% of each of these videos that I put up. If you look at the YouTube analytics, which is actually really high, by the way. Like, actually, my viewers on YouTube are like crazy good at watching these videos. And so like a 40% average view duration is fantastic on YouTube. I'm not sure how many other YouTube channels you guys watch. Not necessarily Go things, but just across YouTube. Like, you go start watching something for exactly 30 seconds and go, I'm bored. YouTube has so many other things. Let me go watch a different video. So yeah, when I get a video that hits 40%, it's like mind-blowing. And like, there are YouTube analytics people and marketing people who've also seen this stat and you know, write me emails wanting me to do stuff, and I don't care about them. But that's like the thing they're looking for, right? Is viewer retention throughout the video, especially for longer videos. Anyway, besides the point, you guys don't care. The proper continuation for white is to play here. Before we look at this move, I want to talk about what happens when white plays here. And because if you think it's for black to play here, then you shouldn't have played 017 to begin with. Again, when you play this move, you're trying to defend the top, so you have to play this move. White can, of course, poke through and use the Saji, but it's not really clear how to proceed. White still sort of owes a move in the corner. Maybe there. Sometimes maybe you play there, but this also leaves some Aji with this move. Again, if you don't mind having this Aji, then you play just what kind of Aji do you want, kind of thing. White does get a sizable corner that is alive, but black has effectively sealed off white from anything on the top and has a nice influence going on the sides. This is what white, both players are quote unquote happy. White took away all the points in the corner. That's what white wanted when white played the 3/3 stone. But black got a very nice outside. So I guess black is happier because some of these other variations will well, let's just show you. Like, here's the normal one. I promise not to show you this one yet. Damn it. You know, black is happy, but again, this top side is still a little bit open. And so black hasn't sealed off white in the direction that black wanted to seal white off in. Okay. That was a side tangent, sorry. All right, let's go back to this. So again, if white plays here, this is going to be a good result for black. Effectively, black will take a large outside and giving very few extra points to white in the corner. So the most common move for white is here. And this is natural. This is just, you know, how we play Go. But the next move for black, there's really two options, one of which will probably surprise you, one of which won't. The one that won't surprise you is for black just to Hane. White pulls black back, and black connects. And you can see that we've effectively sealed white off from the top. There is a little bit of a weakness here, but the good news is, for the most part, we can actually deal with it just fine. And even though white can sort of fight here, you know, we're assuming we're sealing this in on the assumption that black has other stones over here. So we can just focus the fight on making sure these stones over here stay safe, and this isn't too serious of a fight for black to consider. Okay, going back to here again, the obvious move was to just play here and just seal white in. The not so obvious move for black to continue with is here. And what I mean by that is black tanukis. And tanuking here is actually quite common. Like when black plays this move, he might play it to again seal white in, but he also might play it with the intention of playing to taking the tanuki to play some other more urgent part of the board. Because after this exchange, this is actually a good exchange for black. a third line stone for a second line stone. The follow-up for white is something like this, which, yeah, I mean, that helps white get out and actually start building over here, but isn't, like, the follow-up isn't really, like, going to hurt black, this group, a whole lot. Right? Black can just go back over here and defend, or maybe even just get some more liberties. You know, if white plays there, whatever it is. The continuation for white is really just dealing with the strength of the corner and the top of the board. And if black has already decided the top of the board is not worth enough because it's more urgent to play somewhere else, then this is a fine thing to allow. Again, locally, if you want the top of the board, you need to play this. And that's still a good result for black. So this is perhaps, you know, the coolest move that Q players never play that I'm going to show you today. That you can immediately add to your repertoire. The variations are not hard, right? And you sort of have to know this one, and you have to know this one. That's it. Like, that's it. Those are like the only interesting variations that you need to think about. If white wants to be some sort of a jackass and do this, this is a very not easy fight for white. White thinks he's fighting here, but really all he's doing is he's playing chicken with the corner, because at some point he has to come back and live with this L2 group, and that gives you plenty of time to come back and just attack white in the middle. Totally acceptable for black as well. Okay, let's go to the fun stuff. I guess that was fun. Was that fun? Totally fun. Let's talk about when black plays here. And from this point, there's really only one white move, to Hane. But here, black gets 3 choices, no less than 3 choices. And they are, let's use the number tool, in probably order of commonness, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to suspect that most of you guys are pretty familiar with 1. And again, I've already sort of shown this in the video. Extend, 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 Hane, Hane, connect, fix. Everybody's happy. Black gets a nice outside, white gets a nice corner. White's not completely sealed in. White's only like 85% sealed in. So there you go. Like, super common Joseki, expect to see it all the time. There's really not a whole lot else. Like, this is basically the continuation. I really don't know of any other Joseki lines here. I guess if black Tanukis, right, white has to make use of this cut somehow, or know how to make use of this cut. But yeah, once you learn that pattern, like, that's like bread and butter, man. That's just like super basic, you see all the time. This one's not so basic. This one actually has a couple different variations depending on what white and black both want, and they can both, I think, have variations that let the other person decide, versus variations where they take the initiative. But the basic idea is, after white plays here, white should, I think this is the only move for white in this. Oh, no, sorry. No, white doesn't have to play here yet. White could, if white just wants the top for some reason, to build the top, totally possible. Totally possible. Now black has a choice. Black can take the corner with this type of sequence, or black can just continue to get thickness on the outside with this type of sequence. And this would be fine, or continue there. That would make a very nice deep wall, especially if black already has big potential. Black would probably choose this one. Locally, taking the corner points is probably slightly worth more. But the problem is that there's actually still a little bit of aji here. It's not entirely obvious, but imagine something like this, where white pushes up, black blocks, and black plays this kind of move. I think that's enough trouble to get white in. Yeah, that's totally enough trouble to get black into. White can extend here to take the corner back, which is not obvious at first. But white plays here. And again, black can't prevent this white group from getting out and getting more liberties, because if black does, or sorry, before white does this, white should take this Atari. If black connects, there we go. Now we can. I'm just adjusting the move order. These are all the same moves I want to play, just a different order. You know, this is well, dead, first of all. Black can't play this. But just a train wreck for black. This is super train wreck. So I'm just going to point out one caveat, that if black takes the corner, Hane, double Hane, white takes the outside, counter Atari and Atari, this liberty and this liberty are really important against the corner. If black does not own those two liberties, and again, white can't play here necessarily directly because of ladder considerations, but if you can find any time to get a free move somewhere, white just won the corner back, which is cool. Can even play this one. And then we have, what, 5 liberties to 4? There you go. Corner white. So that's cool. But you are giving your opponent the option, again, when you take this one stone here, the option to take the corner, a pretty sizable corner, even though there's a lot of aji, or build the thickness. So you are, by capturing this one stone, giving your opponent the choice of what he thinks is better. Okay, if we don't want the outside, we have to play this move, at least the top outside. We should clarify that. We have to play this move. This is really the only way to continue, otherwise, if you're not going to Atari here. I think I read that, was it Kato Masao? So a Japanese player played this in the early 80s that actually basically guaranteed the corner as white. So if you are not interested in the outside at all and you just want to revert to like a normal Joseki where white just takes the corner and black takes the outside, if you want to force your hand, you can play this move. I think you expect it to just go like this, just live with an L2 group. So if you do not want to keep white flexible and at this point you just want to decide, nope, I just want the corner, you can play this Atari. And actually I think I've done this in a number of my own games. Because again, when you're invading the corner, you're just like, I want the corner. If you don't take that Atari and instead you play here, there are some other possible ways for this to go. Normally, black will play here. And again, this is just ridiculous because let's look at cuts. We have a cut, we have a cut, we have a cut, we have a cut, we have a cut. We have 5 cuts between the 2 players. Which one should you take? As white, in this case. Should you fix one of your own? Or should you take one of black's? Now in this case, I think it's okay. Like if you just want to revert back to taking the corner, right, going back to that mentality. I think it was Kato. Was it Kato Masao? Maybe someone can look it up and figure out who played this move first. You can just connect, and black will connect, and you'll connect, and boom, you just guarantee yourself the corner, and black will take the outside. But the more interesting move for white is here. And in this case, black has 2 options. Basically, an option that lets him take the corner back with a move like this. And again, I guess white could be kind of pig-headed and insist on taking the corner, but I think this is this stone looks like a really bad exchange. This stone was very poorly exchanged, so we don't usually see that. But you can play it. I mean, this is, for white. When black connects here, it's more normal for white to play here. Take the stone. Black takes back the corner, but black gets this side, white gets this side. So we've seen now 2 variations, one of which where white gets a panuki over here, and a second of which where white gets a panuki over here. So even though white starts with a corner invasion, white can actually end up with taking influence on either side, just sort of depending on, how this goes. I think that's pretty cool, where all three of these results come out of this pattern, right? Where white can just insist on taking the corner, white can take a panuki over here, or white can take a panuki over here. That's pretty wild if you think about it, right? Where there's like 3 completely different results, right? White can build over here, white can build over here, white can build on top. I think that's cool. You should think that's cool too. All right, after this, black has another option. Instead of connecting, black can play here. And I have to remember what white does. I have to actually read this out. I don't remember what it's supposed to do here. Oh my god. All right, I give up. I'm going to pause the video and just go and double check something. Okay, so wow, I now see why I have so much trouble remembering is because none of these cuts work for white. And so white just has to connect here. And white again has to connect here. Oh wait, why can't white play this? This is unclear to me. What the hell? Let me go look this up again. Alright, so this is very exciting. I think we just found an error in the Kogos Joseki dictionary, because after I looked this up, Kogos was stupid. And then there's like, you know, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of patterns in Go that could be considered anything remotely close to Joseki, and Kogos definitely doesn't have all of them. But I'm pretty sure Kogos screwed up, which is cool, right? I mean, that's cool when you find stuff like that. It kind of sucks, though, I guess, for the Go community, and for me, if I want to go like double check something like a pattern that I learned and know, and Kogos tricks me, it's like, my whole universe is shifted. The earth beneath my feet is no longer solid. But I'm pretty sure Kogos has an error because, and I'll show you why after this move. Kogos says this move is, it has a little comment. I forget what the comment is, but it's like black can play here. And then it expects white to play here, black to take, white to connect, and black to play here. And now it says black has a good result, which is true. Because this is super solid outside. It's only an L2 group on the inside. That's I mean, 6 points. And even though there's this one, maybe 2 stones worth of Aji, black's so solid on the outside, this Panuki is worth way more than the corner and this Aji. So that's cool, okay? Well, that's not that cool. Because Kogos, this is what Kogos concludes. And that conclusion is completely nuts. Like, that's so wrong. None of that will ever happen in a game of Go, you know, at least at a high-level game of Go. Because after white connects, it seems like, I just did a quick database search, black needs to play here. If black takes the stone, of course white just plays this, and there's nothing. This is just a white Panuki plus a white corner. Not good enough result for black. So this move is very bad. Very bad move for black, and Kogos is like, this is the A variation, this is the main line. So terrible job, Kogos. I found one of your thousands and thousands of variations that is wrong. Aha! We've made history today. That's really not. By the way, there's a lot of things in Kogos that are not accurate, and certainly not, you know, up to date. But anyway, all right. It's cool. It's cool when you find that stuff, right? It's still cool. So, indeed, black can play here. Okay, but this variation is actually much more complicated than it would seem at first glance. White still connects here. And now, like I said, black has to connect here. And now the move for white, instead of groveling for the corner and letting black make that awesome outside again, is white should play here. Now, this has a whole ton of caveats. If black has anything over here, white just has to grovel in this variation. Just grovel right now. If white has anything over here, this is actually a very good result for white, because if black tries to run this out now, white will make use of this immediately and at some point be able to have enough liberties to come back and capture this. Or at least have enough liberties where white can come back and live directly and then just fight on the outside. And that whole thing is just, this is like, I can't say whether or not this is good or, there's no way, right, to say who this variation is good for without knowing anything about the rest of the board. If the board looks exactly like this, with this stone here, this stone here, and this stone here, and understand this is a completely synthetic situation, right? This is never going to happen because white is never going to invade here on the third move or fourth move of the game, right? So even that's just completely synthetic. And those of you who say, well, you know, you should be able to evaluate a Joseki in completely empty space and base it off of that. You can't in this case because white's never going to invade without more stones on the outside. Okay, so you're full of crap. And just remember that. You guys understand what I'm saying? Like I used to think that when I was learning Joseki, I was like, well, you should be able to evaluate the Joseki based on, you know, just having nothing else on the board. You can, but it's a completely stupid question because you're never going to play this Joseki, this variation, without anything else on the board. Anyway. Yeah. I can't evaluate it. Which is neat. Like, so black can play this move entirely dependent on this side of the board. And again, if white doesn't like the continuation at this point, again, this is where, oops, instead of playing here, white can connect and just sort of back out of it this way. Although maybe actually if white connects here, here? Oh, same. Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah, I was just looking at other connection possibilities. So that's cool. I feel like I've learned something today, which is cool because I'm supposed to be teaching you, and yet you guys are teaching me. How cool. All right, so do we do all the variations for this double hane? We looked at this one, we looked at this one. I think so. We'll come back and we'll review all these one more time before the video is over. But the third one I'm going to look at is here. And now this one is a complete overplay if black doesn't have the ladder. And when in this case he doesn't. So let's talk about how do you punish this move as white. Well, the first thing you have to do is play here. And black extends, white extends. And the only way for black to get, I think, any sort of a good result at this point, or so let's say if black insists that he has the ladder for some reason, is to Atari this way and play here. And it looks like these three white stones are captured, right? Because if you count the liberties, black has, 3 liberties here. Even though this ladder right now, it looks like black's in a ladder, it's not, because as soon as black turns, the stone will be an Atari, so the ladder is broken. We have 4 liberties on the inside. These 3 white stones are going to die, right? Wrong. Because we have all this, we have all these really, really crude push, cut, Atari. Actually, it's probably extending is better. And then Atari. And now you can see this ladder just erupts. And again, as long as black doesn't have a stone over here, it'll be good for white. And you have to remember, majority of the time, white will own this ladder. And the reason why we expect white to own this ladder, and which is why we don't usually see this let's go back. This I don't know, what do you call it? Crosscut, I guess, a crosscut kind of situation, is because this is black's corner, right? And black is also blocking this, why implying that this is black's corner. So if these 2 corners are black corners, then these 2 corners should be white corners. And so we don't often see this just because statistically speaking, we don't expect black to have the ladder over here. Now, if black is really, savvy, maybe black can play some ladder breakers with the anticipation of white invading here. Maybe that's a consideration. You can sort of trick your opponent that way. And in fact, there was a game I played against a kid at the US Go Congress that I really wanted to show the game record on my USGC videos, but in the game record I messed up a really important sequence and I couldn't quite reconstruct it with the correct move order. So I decided not making a video on it, against making a video on it. But I totally tricked this really talented kid. I mean, I asked him his age. I think he was 8, maybe. I can't remember. But I'm playing at a pretty high Dawn level. But totally tricked him in one of these ladder variations. Not on the 3-3 invasion. It was a different sideboard situation. But I mean, tricking your opponent with ladders is fun. That's all I want to say. So again, if black doesn't want to die in the corner, has to try to get liberties. But again, this is a pretty normal kind of Atari sequence to set up a ladder. Even so, actually, this wouldn't necessarily be, this is a very good result for white, but it's actually not completely game over, just because there is this kind of connection for black. So, but black really needs one more move, huh? Yeah. Yeah, so apparently, maybe is this really that bad? It seems like this would be really good for black, or really good for white, right? Like if you capture, is there, I've never thought about this before. I just sort of saw this variation. Right? And if black is losing these 2 stones in a ladder bad, I mean, look at white's shape, right? This is just, this is a dumb shape, right? Right, there's guaranteed eye in the corner. There's guaranteed eye there. This black group is completely alive. Black really doesn't have anything on the out. I mean, there's this on the outside, but not nearly the outside we'd expect to get. White gets Sente, I guess white has to play this type of move. This seems fair, which is really weird. Like, really, really weird. When black plays a quote-unquote sort of trick Joseki, and the refutation doesn't look that bad. All right, I'm gonna pause the video again. Actually, I have Kogos open now, so I just want to go and actually look and see if Kogos has any conclusions about the end of that. Huh. Well, Kogos definitely doesn't have any thoughts to say at the end, but it did point out to me that I messed up the move order slightly, and so I want to correct that right now. Here, actually, white shouldn't take this Atari. White should just extend. I think that's slightly better. Maybe that's a lot better if there's a refutation. But yeah, now if black insists on this, we just play this. And all right, let's double check and make sure this is the same. Drew. And come underneath. Take, right is only move. Throw in. Take, connect. White, I guess white doesn't have to connect here, but it's still Sente to make use of this stone. And actually, does black have... Black could play there, that's even better. Or is it? Because it makes that forcing. I don't know what's best here. Alright, again, let's just pretend we do that. And again, this part of the variation, this ending variation, is not in Kogos. But because this white's shape looks so inefficient, and again, it's not like black got anything really good, but it's like even in even in the variation that's supposed to be really good for white, like this seems very acceptable. Maybe I'm just overestimating or underestimating the strength of this really terrible shape. I mean, I'm just looking at this giant clump of stones, right, and my eye immediately looks at it and goes, that looks like terrible shape. But you know, they're all connected, and they do come out of ways, so maybe this is just stronger than I'm willing to believe. Very neat, very neat. All right, we're learning a lot today. We're learning so much Go today. The variation that white is supposed to play if white doesn't have the ladder, right? So if we give... here, let's put some other stones on the board. Let's just give black a stone there. I think that should break the ladder, right? Well, definitely that one should. Either way, if white doesn't have a ladder, white is supposed to just play here. And black just connects. And now black has basically sealed white on the inside and very effectively. Similar to that other variation that we looked at the beginning, where black plays here to seal white in from the top. So if white wants to build, or black wants to build points directly at the top, black plays here. But in this one, if white, just takes, this is usually considered a very good result for black, and white has been tricked. Because this outside is now sealed in on both sides. And furthermore, you know, if white doesn't get to play this move down here, this move is Sente for black, which is cool. And white basically just needs to respond. So this is a really nice outside for black. Really nice. Huh. Okay. So I feel bad about this video. I feel like this one... Like I felt... maybe I, like many Q players, feel overconfident in their 4-4, 3-3 invasion variations and haven't appreciated some of the subtleties. So it's fun to explore those with you guys today. Let's just do a quick recap of the variations and some of the differences. Again, black blocks. Actually, let's do the mirror reflection here. Let's do a reflection version. So we'll go down this side of the board. Again, the first one we looked at was here. White almost always responds here. And at this point, black can Tanuki or seal white in. Black's choice. And again, if white plays here, black plays here and basically fights through these cuts. And black will be fine. The more interesting, more common variation, of course, is for black to Hane. The most normal expectation, common Joseki we expect to see is here. And this move is important. Like, if you care about this area of the board at all, fixing this cut is a big deal. Because this cut can be used not only, let's say, black Tanukis, in a direct manner, where all of a sudden this stone is now like, I don't know, just under terrible amount of pressure. Although actually there's a cut here now too. Oh man, that just works. Can white really not just play there? Wow. I just assumed this was good for all parties. Huh. I guess black can, or white can kind of link up here, but that's not that exciting. All right, so anyway, maybe at some point you can use this cut directly and have it work out better. But again, white can always peep at this cut directly and then get another peep out of it. And then play here and get another peep too. That might be the stronger way to play, actually. Is just to attack the wall as a whole thing rather than trying to cut off a stone. Okay, anyway, that's, again, we're trying to review, not explore new territory. So that's what we normally expect. When black plays here, things get really interesting. The most common move for white is to play here, although if white just wants to make a panuki over here, or offer a panuki, or offer black more thickness with this kind of sequence, white can choose this way. If black doesn't want that thickness, again, black can revert to the corner. And again, this takes the corner, leaves a wall, but again, there's Aji with these two white stones. If white is invested in the corner and or the top of the board, instead of taking this Atari, white will play this Hane, to which black will counter Hane. And white will, again, white can take these Ataris and live in the corner if white just wants to be pig-headed about it. But more normal variation is for white to play this. After which we'll expect to see black just cut and take back the corner. But white gets a panuki on this side. And a nice base too. Or we looked at this move for quite a while. And then we talked about why black can't play there, even though that's what Kogo says to do. And black will need to play there and then do this crazy fighting thing. So, oh, and then one more line, right? If black has the ladder, in theory, although it seems like, again, black doesn't really get punished too badly. Maybe it's punishment just because black could get a better result. If black doesn't play this, right? If in this case, black might be able to get a better result by playing here or here. Just play normal. But again, if black has a ladder, black can play here. And if black has a ladder, white is theoretically supposed to play here, according to the Joseki dictionaries, and let black get a good result. But as you can see from this video, I'm not so confident that is a fact anymore. I'll have to consult with a stronger player and see what they think. In the meantime, white should just extend. If white has a ladder, and again, I think even if white doesn't have a ladder, maybe we can find a variation where, you know, black has to play there. Now white takes this cut and plays here. Black can't block. So what if black doesn't block? Oh, it gets really sad if black doesn't block, doesn't it? So we play there once. 4 liberties to 3. That's kind of not very exciting. Atari here, and ladder. Oh. Wait, is that what I was doing before? Okay, subtlety. Interesting. I just realized something. Okay, so before, I had white pushing up here first, and then starting this ladder, but it's actually much better for white if white doesn't push up there first, right? Because in this case, after here, let's say black goes back to this connection, throw in Atari, right? So we didn't make this exchange for this exchange. Huh. No, it's remarkably similar. Yeah, so we just exchange this for this. Never mind. That is a subtlety, but it's not like a big deal. I don't know. All right, if you're a stronger player and you've somehow made it to like the 40-minute mark in watching this video, let me know what I'm doing wrong here. Or if we just broke into true new Joseki ground, where everyone just read this out as not playable for black if white has the ladder. But again, just because of the shape, I'm not convinced that's true. Yeah, you have to take Atari every move because we only have 2 liberties. Man, I really want to figure this out. All right, so leave me a comment if you figured it out and you understand what's going on, because I'd like to know. I think this is cool. Whoops, no, definitely can't play that. Has to take this Atari first. If we connect, there's nothing. Can't. We definitely can't play that. Oh, no, that doesn't make a difference, right? Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. I was looking at just making sure that if white extends here, we don't get to take this for free first. And the answer is no. Because when black Atari's this side, and we take black then Atari's this side, actually black can throw in first. And then Atari's this side, and it's the same. Still connected. Yeah, all right, man. This is way too long of a video for what I thought was going to be a really easy video and just going over the basic variations. So anyway, I'm glad you guys stuck with it and hopefully learned something and can see that, number one, I definitely don't know things. I don't know a lot of things. And maybe there's still discoveries yet to be made in some of these patterns. Or they just haven't been translated in English yet and we can't find them. Oh, actually, let me pause the video and before I sign off and just see if I can do a database search for this sequence. Yeah, that whole pattern not showing up in any database that I have of professional and high and strong player games. So yeah, cool. Thanks for watching. That was a fun surprise.